Welcome to Real Talk, the unedited, scripted, unfiltered show where I sit down with a gaming personality and talk about anything and everything. Australia is a tough place to have a career in esports. Andrew mOOnGLaDe Penderover has been the trailblazer starting back in the early days of PC gaming to Warcraft 3 and most recently Starcraft 2. Synonymous with esports down under, Pinder has been a mouthpiece for the industry, and I'm excited to have him here on the show to talk about life, esports, and Australia. Andy, welcome to Real Talk. Glad you could make it, man.
Hey man, thanks for having me on. Really excited for this.
Now, most Real Talks really start with the personal story. I gotta ask, is mOOnGLaDe from Warcraft 3? Is that where you got your name?
Oh, absolutely, man. I used to get that question a lot back in the day. People kept thinking it was from World of Warcraft. I assure you, it was. It started as a map in Warcraft 3. Granted, it was a terrible map in Warcraft 3, but the capitals made it what it is, and yeah, it's pretty much a Smurf when I started using it. But I really enjoyed. I really liked how it looked, so I pretty much stuck with it.
Do you have any names that you used prior to that? I mean, what were some of these other handles that you used?
Ooh, back in the day when I was still in high school, I used Dead Rock, Dead underscore Rock.
Dead
That was
Rock.
probably my favorite back then. And I
Okay.
also used Redknapp. It was basically Pender backwards. And those two were pretty much the main ones I used to use. I think I used Bone Ash at one point, which was like a character from Diablo 2, like one of those
Ah,
unique skeletons you fight in Act 1. So
gotcha.
yeah, yeah.
Stuck with mOOnGLaDe though.
Yeah, man, it looks good, and I kind of realized that if you keep changing your name, no one's going to know who you are. I kind of realized that back in Warcraft 3. So even though it wasn't probably the best name I could have chosen, it's got cool capitals, so I stuck with it.
Well, you could teach some of the Koreans a thing or two about keeping that same
Uh,
name, right? Right.
yeah, man, I learned young. It's definitely important.
Well, let's just go ahead and start talking about kind of your personal story. So, where were you born, and where'd you grow up?
I was born and raised in Brisbane, Australia. Been here all my life, and I'm still here. Yeah, it's pretty much. I haven't really relocated much at all.
Is there a reason for that? You just kind of don't enjoy change too much. You enjoy the area. You kind of know it. What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, I guess personally, my family's always been a very chill family. They're very like settled and they don't like to do much. So I'm kind of like the black sheep in that case because I've been traveling an awful lot and getting out there. But besides that, I guess I just haven't really found any like great opportunities that I really want to take to move completely overseas or different parts of Australia.
Gotcha. Well, we'll definitely talk about that when we get to kind of the esports part of it. But let's talk about your parents. What did they do for work as a child, and do they still do the same today?
My mum, I'm not, I can't exactly remember what my mum used to do, but she used to be in business and she used to be pretty successful. Then she started having a family and she kind of stopped that and became like a housewife until about 10 years ago when we were starting to grow up, me and my brother and sister. And then she started working as a teacher aide at a local primary school. And my dad's been in insurance all his life, pretty much just selling insurance and working in the office in the city somewhere. Yeah, and they've pretty much stuck to those two things pretty much their whole lives.
Was money kind of ever an issue for your family, or did you guys basically get whatever you wanted when you wanted it?
We weren't that spoiled, that's for sure. I wouldn't say it was in. I wouldn't say we had like money problems, but we weren't well off or anything like that. We lived comfortably, but yeah, there was always kids that had a whole lot more than me. Uh, but we got a computer early on, so that was pretty much all I needed.
That's all a nerd needs, so I guess you're
Yeah,
good there.
exactly.
Brothers and sisters, do you have any?
Yeah, I got one brother and one sister, both younger than me, and both of them not really into gaming as much or at all, to be honest. My bro's kind of like into martial arts and MMA and all that. He's a pretty good fighter. And my sister, she's just into just like living life, working 9 to 5, and yeah, not doing. I don't exactly know what her hobbies are. We aren't that close, but yeah, she's cool.
How much younger are they?
My bro's 2 years younger than me, so he's 25 this year, and my sister's 23 this year.
What was that dynamic like growing up? I mean, being kind of the eldest child, did you kind of see the pros and cons to that, or did you have issues with that ever?
Um, well, it was cool being the bigger brother, that's for sure. I always secretly thought that maybe if I didn't have a bro and sister, we'd have a lot more money and I could have a lot sweeter computer or something. I don't know, but that's probably a terrible thing to say.
Hopefully,
But
they don't watch this.
I hope so. No, but no, it was good. I think it's very good to grow up with siblings. I think you learn a lot from them, and I'm pretty happy that they're there. They're here, and yeah, they're very cool. We all get along.
Well, let's focus on kind of academia and schooling. Going up, growing through grade school. I'm not really sure of the system down in Australia, but
Hmm.
what were you like in school? Were you the shy kid? Were you kind of the rambunctious kid that was always getting in trouble? What were you like?
Uh, well, in primary school, which is like year 1 to 7 for Brisbane, especially, I got to I was actually pretty loud there. I was pretty happy. It was a small school, so I was kind of friends with most people, and it was easy to get along. And I made school captain in year 7, so that was cool. And then I went into high school, which is grade 8 to 12 in Australia. I don't know if it's different anywhere else. And it kind of shocked me, to be honest, because there was so many people and so many people I disliked, which I think is pretty much the same for most people going to high school. And I really, I became very, very quiet. Like I was like a ghost or something at high school. No one really knew me. I was very, very quiet, and I had like a few friends that I hanged out with every day. And I wasn't that good at studying or anything like that. Um, my friend in year 8 kind of got me on the path of like Starcraft 1 and stuff, and yeah, I absolutely hated high school more than anything else, and yeah, it was definitely one of the reasons that really really got me into gaming because it was a great escape at the time. But yeah, that's pretty much my as far as my academics go. I pretty much studied up to year 12 and I stopped there. I did like a little bit of college afterwards. It's like we call it TAFE here, and it's kind of like a easygoing kind of college you can do part time and stuff. But I was so overstudying after that, after finishing year 12, so I decided to kind of focus more on gaming in general. And yeah, usually after half the high school, we either go to like TAFE or we go to university, which is kind of like college for you guys.
Hmm.
And yeah, but I had no interest in doing that just yet.
What was it about high school that you hated so much? Was it just kind of how foreign everything was, or what was it in
Yeah,
particular?
it was kind of a shock when I first started. Like it was just so completely different being put together with all these people that I didn't know, and a lot of very strong personalities. And I I don't know, like it's just I just didn't enjoy it at all. Like I didn't enjoy studying at all. I obviously wasn't going to leave school, but yeah, I just didn't really click with many people because I was kind of like I guess back then it's quite a few years ago now, back in like 2009, sorry,
1990.
1989,
Oh, okay.
1999. That's no, I'm not that old. And the early 2000s, I guess gaming was kind of new. People weren't really into it as much, so I didn't have the same interests as a lot of people. And yeah, I tried to kind of wag school a lot and play like games, which is kind of bad, but it didn't destroy my grades, so it was okay.
Were you a part of any kind of clubs? Did you play any sports in particular, or were you just the go to school from 9 to 3 or 8 to 3, and then go home and play video games all day?
I was kind of like that. I in year 8 I kind of did soccer and some athletics and stuff, but after that I kind of was just like the guy who went to school, sat in the library and looked at pro gaming on StarCraft 1 and looking at Boxer and stuff, and then daydream. Then I'd kind of just go home and yeah, I'd play games. And it was very sad on my school holidays. We get like 2 weeks off or something. I pretty much spend the whole 2 weeks on like my computer. So I was quite the nerd.
What did your family think of whether your parents or your brother and sister kind of you being so fascinated with video games at such a young age, did they try to kind of coerce you into doing other things outside of that, or are they pretty healthy in terms of did they
Um,
enjoy what you were doing, I guess is the best way to say it.
I think I'm sure my parents were like a little concerned when I spent so much time doing it, but they were kind of concerned all the way up to like year 12, and then after that, I kind of started getting into esports more, and I was a bit more successful at it, which I'm sure we'll get into. And they kind of understood it after then. But during high school, I'm pretty sure they were a bit worried about me and what I was going to do afterwards because I didn't have too many ambitions when it came to studying or where I wanted to go. I was kind of just like really fascinated with gaming, and I really wanted to do something with that, but it was very early on. So the scene wasn't very developed at all or anything like that.
Well, let's talk about just video games in general. What was kind of the first one that you played that really kind of hooked you into the world of video games?
Hmm. I can go way back, and I can think of like a game I used to play with my friends a lot, like Tank Wars back on like my old like 486 PC. It was like 20 years ago now or something. And I kind of like Commander Keen and all those games, Monster Bash, and I got a Nintendo 64 at some point, and I was damn good at Mario Kart and GoldenEye. I was actually sick good at GoldenEye. I could have, if there was competition for that, I reckon I could have done all right. But yeah, I kind of grew up with all those kind of games. I guess a lot of people grew up with. Then I got into Diablo 1, and I think that was the game that really hooked me more than anything else. I've never played a game like it, and I was so into the item side of things and like obviously the addictive side of it, where I could just level up a character and get all the sweetest items and make like a really sick warrior or something. And from there, I kind of went up the whole Blizzard tech tree. I went on to Starcraft 1 and Brood War and then Diablo 2 and Diablo 2 expansion and then Warcraft 3 and then World of Warcraft at one point, then back to Warcraft 3 and then Starcraft 2 and yeah, and I did play like a ton of like I tried to play as many RTS games as I could along the way because I think that was the genre that really interested me more than anything else. But yeah, I've been a big gamer all my life.
Would you say, do you have a favorite? If you could kind of pick a favorite or try to rank all of the games that you kind of played in your childhood, do you have the fondest memories of one in particular?
World in Conflict. It was not too
Really?
long ago. I love that game, man, and I think it could have been so much. Like it, the way you had to play that game and the teamwork and strategy and everything about it. It had so many cool factors about that game, and I thought it could be like it could legit be a future game, but like you could have really done something in esports. But I think it was just so poorly marketed, and like no one actually knew this game came out, and it had a lot of potential, but and the game itself was good. It was just a matter of getting it out there. And I think it was one of those tragedies of gaming and esports. It's just that it never took off.
Were you a
That's
part
what,
of, did you play that when it was the CPL that picked it up for like a big tour,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Well, yeah. Australia was going to have CPL, but then it got cancelled.
Right.
We were in a good contention to like win it internationally. I think we were mixing it up with like the best American teams, and
Yeah.
me and a bunch of other Aussies were doing it. Yeah, I think we definitely had a good chance at that, but obviously we got screwed by CPL in Australia. Damn shame.
Damn shame. Would you say that you're kind of a competitive person? Is that where your drive to compete in all of these games kind of started from?
I think so. I think I definitely enjoy beating my friends down when I was growing up, and yeah, it's definitely strongly competitive with those things. I love trying to be the best at it. So that's definitely what kept me going through a lot of these games.
Have you ever thought about why that kind of translated to gaming? I mean, what else were you competitive with in your life outside of video games? Was it just like the small things, like I bet you I could beat you to the end of the street, or
I wasn't crazy competitive like that,
yeah,
but I did like back when I was playing soccer. I did soccer when I was really young for like 4 or 5 years. I kind of really enjoyed being good at that, and I think that was and athletics. I was a really good runner when I was younger, but then my growth sort of stopped, and I was pretty short in the end, so I couldn't really be a good runner. and swimming. So I kind of used to do like a lot of athletic stuff when I was in my younger years, and I used to enjoy that competitively. But I don't know, it was good, but I felt like gaming was more my calling, like being good at games, taking it competitively, and really learning a lot about it. Definitely.
Outside of kind of, I guess, the competitive games, the RTSs and whatnot, do you have like a favorite of all time for you? I mean, you spoke very highly of Diablo 1. Was that kind of the biggest one for you?
I would say it's definitely Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. Those two games I really, really enjoyed, and I had sunk probably the most amount of time into compared to any other game. I really enjoyed. I do love a good RPG, especially one where you can build a character up. It's kind of like it feels like you're being productive, but you're not really. 'Cause you're being productive in game. You're working towards a goal, and that kind of really gets me hooked more than anything. I do love that. But yeah, those two games for sure are my favorite.
How much World of Warcraft did you play? Would you consider yourself kind of an addict at one point?
I'd say I had 1 year of complete regret playing that game. I was when it
Complete
first came
regret.
out,
Okay.
complete regret. It cost me like WCG in 2005, and yeah, I played vanilla. Oh, okay, it wasn't complete regret. I mean, I learned an MMO. I tried to play it kind of like at its highest level, and I tried to be like a professional raider and all that sort of stuff. Like it's kind of something that you'll never finish. These MMO games, like they'll always have something you got to keep working towards. You can never just be have it completed. And I kind of realized that after a year that I'm honestly not going to go anywhere if I keep playing this game. And I did sink like 16 hours a day for a year into this game, and I became completely antisocial, and I put on weight, and it's pretty much ended up being like just a really negative thing for me because I could get really addicted to it because as I said before, it was like I was doing something constructive in a game. So in my mind, it felt like it was a good thing, but for everything else, other aspect of my life, it was kind of like it's just a negative thing.
Kind of thinking about that now as a pro StarCraft 2 player, do you find that games like that and I guess MMOs in general are those kind of things that you have to stay away from so you don't kind of fall back into that as a pro gamer and you can just focus on StarCraft 2? Or do you sometimes take a break and focus on stuff like that?
I think it's always good to take a break, but it's always important to manage your kind of addictions, I guess, and make sure you're not spending too much time having a break or enjoying a game because there's only so much time you can play games for. And I mean, if you're like if I have like an 8 hour day practice schedule, like there's not much time for another game really. So I have to be careful with it, but I don't think I could ever fall back into that kind of like addiction like World of Warcraft did. I kind of learned my lesson with that one.
Well, kind of venturing outside of gaming for a question or two. You know, it's a Friday, Saturday night. You've got your practice for the day in StarCraft 2. What do you go and do for fun? Do you stay at home and play something else, or do you go out on town, go bar hopping? What do you like to do for fun?
I'm not much of a drinker, to be honest. I did a bit of that back when I was like 17, 18, and I actually used to drink with my Warcraft buddies, and we used to just sit on the computer at someone's place, drink a lot, and play Warcraft, and like take a shot if you lose a unit or some stupid shit like that. And it was damn fun, but they were messy nights, and I kind of I kind of finished up with that. I just don't find it enjoyable. I can't stand clubs or anything like that, or very loud places where you can't just talk.
Yeah.
Um, I don't mind the occasional beer with friends or whatever, or a good night with some old friends. We just catch up drinking like 10 beers or something. But yeah, I usually what I'll do these days, especially, is we have some good Korean barbecue places in Brisbane, and usually I'll make a Facebook event, and I'll get like 20 people going to a Korean barbecue, and we'll sink some soju and have some meat and have a good time. And that's usually what I do these days. Or it's either that or I stay at home and play a silly game on my Steam or something.
Now, what do your parents think about everything that has kind of happened to you when it comes to pro gaming? Were they reluctant at first? Do they support you now? How do they feel about all this?
They were, I would say that, yeah, they were reluctant at first because they didn't know how good I was or my potential back in the Warcraft 3 days. But for the last like eight, 8 or 9 years, I've kind of been traveling every year for at least once. I've been doing like international travel, getting a lot of experience, and I think they're really happy that I can kind of make just enough to get by and to just do traveling with it and getting a lot of life experience. Something that I definitely would not be doing if I was working 9 to 5 every day. So they're definitely supportive of it now, and they always keep up to date. Even my dad follows me on Twitter, so I got to be careful. And nah, they're very supportive. I could not do anything like this without them. Like they've put me up for the last 9 years playing games, so I owe them a lot.
Do they see it as something that you can continue for a long time, or are you starting to get to a point where they're like, "What are you going to do next? Like, what else do you have on your
It's
agenda?"
always, yeah, they're always wondering if I have a plan after this, or if I'm gonna find a way to start, I don't know, making decent money from it, enough to kind of start saving and look for a home someday or something like that. They definitely wonder about that, and I wonder about it sometimes too. I mean, I am getting older, unfortunately, and I wonder how much longer I can keep going, and and it is a good question. I mean, it's very hard to do this from Australia because there isn't much support down here. There is support, but there isn't much money. Traveling internationally all the time is very expensive. Um, so I'm kind of in the process of figuring that out at the moment, trying to
Hmm.
think of what I should do next, if anything, or if I can try find a more solid place in esports for myself. So that's on the cards at the moment.
We'll definitely kind of flesh that out a little bit more as we get deeper into this real talk. But
Mm.
in terms of your childhood, I mean, looking back now, do you have any regrets? Are there instances or just kind of large sweeping times of your childhood that you wish you could have done differently? Do you wish you were more active in high school or any or all of that? Do you regret any of it?
Honestly, I'm pretty satisfied and pretty damn happy with my choices because I've pretty much done everything I've wanted to do up until now. I mean, everything, yeah, just everything I've done, it's kind of just been something that I've wanted to do. So I don't think I could regret anything like that, and I don't think I could have done half the things or traveled half the places I've been if I chose any other option. So I'm pretty damn happy that I stuck with gaming all my life, and yeah, I think I have no regrets. Maybe that 1 year of World of Warcraft, but you know, it's an important lesson to learn. And so yeah, I'm very happy with how my life is.
Cool, cool. All right, well, that is going to do it for part one here of Real Talk with mOOnGLaDe. Coming up in part two, we'll be focusing on StarCraft 2 and, of course, discussing the latest WCS results, balance talk, all of that coming up in the next segment. So we hope you guys tune in. We'll see you guys there. Thanks for watching.